Perseverance is an important aspect for leaders. It's not just persist and get to the goal, it's to keep going further. My good friend Paul Gustafson, who wrote Leaders Press On, had this to say about perseverance. It's what gives flight to a dream and what unites a team. It's what helps launch a mission, overcome challenges, and ultimately deliver success. Perseverance is what's needed at the beginning, the middle, and the end of a journey. And it's what can turn life from ordinary to extraordinary despite the challenges. So if it gives flight to a dream and it unites a team, well, that flows into what we've been talking about in this 6 days so far, the 7 days, focused on leaders recreating within. We talked on day one about recreation, about walking in to where the team is at, where the family is at, where the circumstances are, and then working to change, to evolve, to grow. We look at ourselves and we say, okay, I'm at this point today. I'm here. Now, you can't just go and change and say, boom, I'm going to do this. Well, you can if your mindset is in the right place. We talked about setting that plan, setting to grow. Leaders climb, leaders grow to that next level, help the team grow. They don't walk alone. And then we talked about, well, there's obstacles that will come in the way, and those things need to be surmounted. Those need to be made low and then walk through that. One of the things I found in my time at the corporate environment is that when that person that was ahead was casting the vision and eliminating the obstacles, our path was much easier. It was much easier to walk through towards that point. Hi, Lisa. Welcome. Glad you could make it on this Sunday. What is it that we need to overcome? We need to overcome that barrier that prevents us to break through. We need to go through. We need to pierce the veil, and that's what leaders do. Those that are really charged with casting a vision and seeing the group as a whole. So sometimes we think about a hierarchical structure and we say, well, the leaders of our company, but they're not leaders, they're positional players. They are people that are holding a position and using that authority to drive the organization forward. And if they're disconnected from the people that are carrying out the mission, carrying out the values and the culture of the organization to the best of their ability, and they disconnect from them, well, they're not very much a leader. We misuse the word leader. And so leaders have even greater job to persevere, because it sometimes will take longer for the team to mesh, because they're used to leaders being disconnected. They're used to having to do it on their own. And they don't have the luxury of someone stepping up and saying, this is the way, I care about you, I need you to be all that you can be, I need you to form up and continue on this path. And what is that path? Well, it's the path we decide is the best way to reach the future needs of our customers, the future needs of our family, the future needs of our community, of our world. And yesterday I talked about, on the late night Saturday edition, that leaders speak last. Dee Hock, who was the founder and chairman emeritus of Visa, had this to say: control is not leadership. Management is not leadership. Leadership is leadership. If you seek to lead, invest at least 50% of your time in leading yourself. You have to model, you have to live it. You have to have that commitment to leadership. Dee goes on to say, spend 50% of time leading yourself, your own purpose, your ethics, your principles, your motivation, your conduct. Invest at least 20% leading those with authority over you. Yes, you do have influence of the people above you, and 15% leading your peers. There's a little piece left over, right? And that's to help the people behind you get higher, get to realize their potential, to help them understand what their purpose is, how to live their ethics, how to live the principles, the motivation. So you spend your time investing in yourself for 50% and then leading the other 50% outside of yourself. Men make history, Harry Truman said, and not the other way around. In periods where there is no leadership, society stands still. Progress occurs when courageous, skillful leaders seize the opportunity to change things for the better. Leaders persevere through time and trial. They persevere because they see ahead. They see at the apex and want to go beyond. So what does that mean for us? For us in our daily lives, we become disconnected. We create that gap from us and our future, from us and our spirit, from us and our intellect, from us and our physical being. Why? Because we stop. We stop casting the vision, believing, persevering, overcoming the obstacles. We fall victim and stand still. We don't lead ourselves. So I look off to this side and I look off to that side and look in front of me, I look in back of me. Who are the people that are around me? Who am I called to take care of? As I mentioned, who do we say I need you to? Who do we welcome into our room, into our circle of comfort? Unless you learn how to follow, you cannot lead. When you're a great follower, you can learn to be a great leader. So people, you may have heard many times, people say, I'm not a leader. Yet they don't realize that they are a leader of themselves because they have to follow themselves too. They have to carry out that 50% of leading themselves, of paying attention to what their purpose is, their ethics, their principles, their motivation, how to conduct themselves. When they aren't taking that courageous step, they are standing still. And I look to my life and say, there have been many times early on when I didn't really understand leadership. Now, I was an Eagle Scout, and as an Eagle Scout, going through the Boy Scouts, you learn leadership. You learn how to be a leader, how to develop influence, to build skills, to be morally straight, to be reverent, to fill within oneself the leadership that one is called to be. I earned my Eagle Scout while Gerald Ford, goodness gracious, Gerald Ford was president of the United States. Gerald Ford was an Eagle Scout. He had earned the Boy Scouts' highest accommodation, highest recognition of work that he had performed, of leading other boys, other peers. Very few people that start out in Boy Scouts or any organization reach its highest point. They don't continue on. Why? Because they lack perseverance. They're there for a short time. Lisa has students that she's coached for many years that were only in it for because their parents paid for it for a short time. It was the skill of, the half year or the year, and then they moved on to something else. Piano, I'm just doing this. I'll get through it and, move on to something else that's more fun. Why? Because they lack perseverance in accomplishing the goal that they were called to be. The goal, the purpose that's within them. We are called as people to lead our lives, to lead others, to accomplish the goals that we are set to do. The God-given right, the God-given purpose, the God-given liberty and freedom to lead where others fail. Sam Rayburn mentioned that, focused on this and said, you have to be the follower, but you have to then become a leader, and you have to ask other people to follow you. And sometimes it's through thick and thin, sometimes it's harder than others. But when we do that, we persevere. We reach the goals, the dreams that we are called to implement. We have within us an amazing amount of talent. We have within us everything that we need to accomplish. We may need some resources. We do. We need others. But we also need to invest in ourselves, to lead ourselves. So when the leader comes into the team, in the work environment, in dressing up and saying, I'm here, I'm ready to take on the task. But it's not really about the task. It's about accomplishing the potential and helping each person reach that potential. Now, it's not overnight, and it takes time. And as I mentioned in another episode, leaders in the top Forbes 500 are very limited in time. They're only there for less than 3 years. So getting to know everybody within their team is quite difficult, and that's why we have disconnect. We don't look for retention, we look for the next step ahead. We don't look to build a better environment, we look for what's the next thing, and then we don't finish. We talked yesterday. An unfinished dream leaves us with an unfinished life. Today's the day to persevere. Get back on that vision. What is it that you want to accomplish? What brings purpose and meaning to your life? What were you called to do? What were you called to take your leadership skills, your principles, your ethics, your experiences, the reason why you are 1 in 400 trillion walking this earth? What do you have yet to do? And do it. This world needs you. This world needs you. This world needs you. We are calling for you. We are seeking you wherever you are. Whether you're listening to this video or not, share it with a friend. Bring this up in conversation. What do you have yet to do? How are you persevering this day towards that? We have greatness within us. There is so much yet to accomplish, so much this world hasn't yet even seen. But it begins with you persevering and going forward and reaching that apex and looking beyond and saying, my gosh, my gosh. So much good has been created, but yet there's so much good to be created. Let's join today in persevering. As we close this day 6, there's one more day in this series of recreating from within, and it's already going through my mind. And I bring these live to you because these are the moments, these are the thoughts that I bring with you at my current time. They all evolve too, but right now I wanted to share with you the things that we have, the things that are flowing through me, the things that I've been instructed to say to you. This is the day that has been created. How are we going to persevere? What have we yet to do? Let's persevere towards that. I'm Dutkiewicz, and this is what I do. I help you accomplish greatness. I walk with you to be your cheerleader, to help you realize that which you are yet called to do, to make it a better day for yourself, and to have that finished life, and to have that legacy left for those people that you will leave, so they will carry on your work, carry on the work that you've been called, carry on the work that others have left you charged with. We have great responsibility. We just need to ramp up that accountability and that determination and commitment to the greater end, to the greater goal, to the greater dream, to the greater person we are called to be. Be well. We'll talk tomorrow.